My name is Josel. I'm 24 years old. I'm currently a student here at San Francisco State University studying German. I also own, operate, and manage Sidedraft Specialties. Sidedraft Specialties is a company, or actually a hub, where enthusiasts can go to in order to get their cars tuned that run carburetors. Carburetors help your car run, or at least for older generations, similar to newer cars that run on fuel injection. It's just an older way of supplying fuel to the engine. So carburetors are an instrument that uses it's an analog instrument that uses vacuum. So with these instruments that they need gaskets, and like over time these parts wear out. So what I do is, if a client of mine or a customer of mine were to use my service, I would clean every single part, replace all the parts that are worn, as well as replace all the gaskets that might potentially have a leak. So it's either going to be like an air leak, which the engine will rev or idle at a really high RPM, or it'll fuel leak, where you don't want that happening because that'll cause, like fuel that goes into engine bay, and if it gets on something really, really hot, your car's on fire.
It's a different experience, definitely, because you do have to let it warm up and stuff, and it's way different than like a fuel injection engine. There's a lot more components to it, I believe, from what I know, pretty much. Probably the biggest difference, for me at least, I do feel the road more. Like, I feel like I'm connected more to the road versus something that's controlling for me. I do have a lot more control, I'm able to control it more than a fuel injection.
Ever since I actually bought my car, I've kind of been like messing around with carburetors since stock it came with carburetors. And so at around 2015 or 2014, I basically came in contact with my current distributor, but at the time, he was the person that I would get all my parts from. And from there, I would just plug his name, I would help him out, and you know that saying of he scratched my back, I scratched yours? He decided to bring me on board with being as one of his dealers for Mikuni carburetors. And so since middle of 2017, I've been operating Sidedraft Specialties.
Hi, my name is Luke, and I drive a 1971 BMW 2002. Okay, my car has a stock motor, just upgraded internals and bored out, and I'm running aftermarket carburetors on it. The carburetors are Sidedraft, so it's an aftermarket option. They're Weber 45s, and yeah, and then the newer versions of my car did come fuel injected too as well, but this one's carbureted. Modifications I've done is I swapped out the 4-speed to a 5, put a limited slip differential in the rear. What mostly inspired me is, well, originally my dad got me into 2002s. His first car he bought was a 2002, so I got most of the inspiration from him. And then how it looks right now, I just make it up as I go. I mean, I'm always changing something just to keep my mind interested, and then forums too as well. Sometimes I see other people's style and I just kind of replicate theirs. So there's a bunch of inspiration out there.
I currently own a 1972 Datsun 240Z. Most guys know them as one of their cars that their dad used to own, or their parents used to own, or even like their grandpa used to own. So the path that I want to take, or at least the plan for Sidedraft Specialties, is something that I can always fall back to, but always keeping it really close to my side. So I'm not going to make like a full-blown business out of it, but I do want to be able to keep it alive just for a side project, while focusing my career on something outside of that, because I'm the type of person that doesn't really enjoy doing something as like a hobby that's also my career, because if I get really burnt out, I'll eventually hate it. So that's not something I want to do. I saw this vintage car from like the 70s, and it had a really long nose and a short sloping back. And from there on, I thought it was like really cool. And then from that, I ended up watching Initial D, and then there's also another anime that was like called Wangan Midnight, which had the 240Z as a hero car. And sort of like from there was when it kind of piqued my interest even more, and I ended up wanting to get that car.